I don't really know, Travis. I'm going to be active and interested in politics. I always have been. I think every American citizen should be. Whether or not I'll ever have another elective or appointive office, I frankly don't know, and I have no particular ambitions to have one.
Would you like to be president 4 years from now?
Well, I guess anybody that answered no to that would have to be undergo psychiatric treatment. But I suppose any American that has pride in his country and hope for its future would have to answer that yes. But the question is, what do you do about it? Do you do anything to achieve it? That's what I'm saying when I have no ambitions.
Dr. Charles Clark reported a study by University of Texas Bureau of Business Research forecasts up to $33 million per year in taxes from parimutuel betting in Texas. Several spokesmen for parimutuel betting said Texas would gain taxes, good fun, and tourists, which now go to New Mexico and other states. But Dallas Representative-elect Jim Mattox led a string of opponents who claimed Texans don't want racetrack bets because they voted it down 4 years ago. Also, he said social costs and law enforcement problems would surpass the new revenues. Methodist Bishop Kenneth Pope of Dallas was in that group of opponents, as was Austin Judge Homer Jones, who said 4 years of legal gambling in the 1930s brought to Texas shysters, business failures, and a prairie fire of corruption.
Sergeant DeWolf told me that suburban cities will get to use the copters only in cases of emergency and disaster, and on a first-come, first-served basis. A lot of the smaller police departments that don't have inner-city communications will have to link up their radio systems with Dallas so they can use the helicopters.
I'd like to say to the board that I wish I could wish you a Merry Christmas. I can't. I wish you a blessed Christmas, and I'll see you all in court.
Ready? Hands up, hands up! All right. Hands up, all right, go there! All right, that was great. What's that? All right, Now be ready, dog. You weren't ready for it. Ready! Set! That's better. Now, when you hit, dog, when you hit, be sure to get your rear end turned around so you don't do it.
Well, if you haven't done it, it's time you did. I mean a little Christmas giving. This one to someone you may not even know. To the kids at St. Joseph Center for Children, Sunshine Center for Children, Buckner's Children's Home, and Fowler's Children's Home, too. Send your stamps, care of WFAA, Communication Center, Dallas 75202. And I'll step into the other room and see what I can do about licking them.
Take the green stamps and put rubber bands around them and put them in books of 10 stacks each. And
I don't suppose it counts if the page is just green.
job.
Well, I don't know. I guess I mean, I just you know, the crackback block. It just depends on where the head is, and it's a decisional call by the referee. And it's an odd thing that he should be complaining about his boys being cracked back on when I'm laying here in bed. But I'm sure the referee saw it right, and it was just my misfortune to have my foot planted.
You haven't heard from Charlie Taylor, have you, at all?
No, I didn't. I think he made a good block, or the referee would have called it.
Chuck, I remember sitting with you on the airplane going to St. Louis, and we were talking about premature retirement rumors, and there was speculation that you were going to quit. Now the speculation has really been generated. Have you given it any thought since that time?
No, I really haven't, Vern. I think it's possibly even more of a challenge now. I mean, I think I was coming into my own. I thought I was having a pretty good year. I wasn't coming up with a big interception as I had in the past years, but I was coming up with some fumble recoveries, and I was really coming on strong in the last 2 or 3 ball games, and it looked like I was going to finish out strong. So it was going to be another decision for me to make come next year. Now with this knee injury, I think I'm just going to have to wait and see how things come along and how they progress.
But in other words, you're definitely not saying right now that you're through as a football player.
Well, that's right. I love a challenge.
You know, D.D. Lewis just listened to that, and he just frowned.
I'll tell you, D.D.'s a great linebacker, and he's going to do one great job at that linebacking spot because he's got the speed and he's got the determination, and there won't be any difference between me or him in there. He'll do the excellent job that has to be done.
Well, I really haven't. I've learned quite a bit, but the thing I'm going to have to learn is recognition of plays that mostly in the past I've gone in passing situations, and there really wasn't much to learn on that, but now I'm going to have to get my recognition down as far as running plays, things like this.
What about playing back there with Dave Edwards and Leroy Jordan?
Well, I think they're going to help me all they can, you know, give me the confidence I need, you know, help me when I break down some way. You know, I'm sure they're going to be there with a pat on the back and give me some confidence, you know.
The Dallas Cowboys working out in Texas Stadium? Not quite. We're in Texas Stadium, but those are the Louisville Farmers practicing over there behind me. And for them, it's been a year full of surprises. The man who knows best is Coach Bill Shipman.
We try to have a surprise for them every week, and today this was it. They thought we were going somewhere else, and I'm sure they thought we were off the road when we wound up at Texas Stadium. And when they got out, we got them all together and said, "Now, fellas, we're going to scrimmage the Cowboys." Figured that you needed a little experience along that line, and so they all laughed and had hooped, you know, and had a good time about it. But actually, we wanted them working out on turf very similar to Texas University turf in surroundings.
Which is where the game will be played, right?
Right, at Texas University Memorial Stadium, in surroundings at least as plush as Memorial Stadium, you know. And we didn't want anybody big-eyed about Memorial Stadium, and after looking this place over, they shouldn't be big-eyed about Memorial Stadium. But mostly it was just a good place to work out that we were fortunate that the management let us use, and the turf is very similar to what we'll be on Saturday night at Memorial. So we think it's a great thing to be able to work out here at Texas Stadium.
Coach, I believe the man that has to produce well for you, at least on the ground, and you have a ball-controlled type of offense, is a young man by the name of Paul Rice.
Well, Paul is our leading ball carrier. We have other young men who are talented. Paul always says, well, it's the line, and he really feels that. Well, he sticks his fingers in his ears when if you brag on him and say, I don't listen to that stuff, and he doesn't. But he has about, 2159, that's 2,159 yards rushing, so he's had some blocking, and he's a great runner, too. Mike Nichols, the fullback, has over 1,300 yards rushing. We feel that we have a good quarterback in Joe Martin. Randy Cade is coming on by leaps and bounds as a slot back. Our offensive line is not extremely large, but they're mobile and smart. We have several honor students in that group. Our defense, the Mad Hogs, have developed an awful lot of pride in their ability to play defense, and they've given up in the 3 playoff games 13 points. They're all to Mount Pleasant.
Uvalde's rated a 6-point favorite to win Saturday's championship game, so now all that remains is to see if Louisville can come up with one final surprise. This is Ray Gaskin, News Ed on the Move, with the Louisville football team.
You know, the job of city manager is not exactly the kind of job that inspires heroism or makes people follow after you like some sort of charismatic leader. And so when a city manager retires, you don't really expect a lot of fanfare. But here they come, hundreds and hundreds of city bigwigs, businessmen, city employees from all walks of life, all of them coming to the Dallas Citizens Council luncheon honoring Scott McDonald, retiring Dallas city manager. One of those was a very distinguished citizen, the main speaker, former Treasury Secretary John Connally.
Scott McDonald has contributed a great deal to Dallas and to this whole metropolitan area in his quarter of a century of distinguished service. And the meeting of the Dallas Citizens Council is always important enough to attract almost anybody I know.
He's always been the type of person that you could talk to. He was always ready to talk to you. He's been a very able and conscientious manager, and I consider it a privilege to work under him.
He is loved with a love that really cannot be expressed, not only by the persons who work for him, but who have ever had any contact with him in any way whatsoever.
Scott McDonald is not like most city managers. I wish we had a cowpen full of them in this country.
Well, it's not exactly a cowpen full of Scott McDonalds, but it is a great hall of the Apparel Mart full of his friends, many of them very distinguished. At the head table, the Master of Ceremonies, Robert Cullum, also Mayor Wes Wise, and the man who is to succeed Scott McDonald in his job as city manager, and is already in that job, in fact, George Schrader. Behind the curtain of the great Apparel Mart, a present for Scott McDonald, a four-wheel drive Jeep vehicle, so he can explore the woods in his retirement. But of course, the big highlight of the day for him and for his friends were the words spoken from the rostrum.
To the Citizens Council, I want to say thank you for this fine luncheon. It certainly gives us a chance to say hello to a lot of people that we wouldn't be able to otherwise, and to all of the people of Dallas that have given their cooperation. Of course, we all know that Dallas is not and never has been a one-man town, and I hope it never will be, because without the cooperation of the city councils, the administration, and the people of Dallas, we could not be the city that we are today, and that we want to keep it that way. Thank you, Bob.
It may have been a cold, wet winter day in Dallas, but Scott McDonald didn't notice it. Not today. At the Apparel Mart in North Dallas, this is Travis Linn, Channel 8 News on the Move.
Instead of battling the rain, cold, and Christmas shopping crowds, students at the Lake Highlands High School can purchase just the right gift for friends and family in a matter of minutes. Distributive education students in the pre-employment lab have set up a Christmas gift shop in the lobby of their school. Students can buy a variety of Yuletide presents, including candles, decorations, chimes, wallets, and jewelry. The shop is open all day, and students may buy between classes and during lunch. The Christmas gift shop selling project has earned the students more than $500. The shop has been open for 1 week. I was tempted to buy a Christmas chime for my front door until I realized I only had enough money for lunch. It was either the door decoration or lunch. I chose the latter. For Channel 8 News on the Move, this is June Gray at Lake Highlands High School.
For the past week, WFAA disc jockeys like Don Christie have been asking listeners to trade in gold, green, plaid, or whatever trading stamps they have around for a good cause. Apparently, the listeners have been listening and sending. Program manager Joe Salvador even had to volunteer his wife's, as well as his own, stamp pasting ability to get the books in shape by the deadline Sunday. Despite sticky fingers and rainbow-hued tongues, the staff is enthusiastic about the response.
Well, I'll tell you, Judy, it's been fantastic. The old liquor is getting a little sticky, but right now we're getting tremendous response, and I think the kids are going to be very happy with what we do for them. They'll go to 4 different places, the 4 different homes that Don told you about, and they're going to take and get vacuum cleaners, maybe a color television set. Hopefully they'll have enough for a bus if the people give us enough, you know. But they're going to spread them around. Well, we're going to spread them around.
What about the people that send in these stamps? What do they win if they send in a lot?
They win our gratitude, and I'm sure the gratitude of the kids.
Thank you very much, Joe. For Channel 8 News on the Move, this is Judy Hanna at WFAA Radio.
One question that has to be asked is, what are you, a Democrat or a Republican?
Oh, I'm a Democrat. I haven't been anything else. The only time I haven't supported the entire ticket was this year when I didn't support Senator McGovern, but he should know all about that because he was off as a delegate to the Progressive Party convention supporting Henry Wallace in 1948 when the rest of us were supporting Harry Truman. So he's aware of how these things happen.
I believe that cross-busing for the purpose of racial integration will be nothing but a detriment to the learning process of thousands of young people. But just because I believe that this law is wrong, I have no right in the world to break it. Let's not break the law, but working together, we can change it.
It does not make sense to bus children for a period from one school to another. It will cost the school too much. We have spent, I believe, more than $5 million since the 1954 Supreme Court decision in trying to prevent integration or desegregation, whatever you want to call it. I think it is high time that we as citizens take a look at this and that we come up with a plan. We do not need anyone from the outside of Tarrant County to come up with a plan for us.
Y'all found the sound?
Got it? No.
He's on the corner down there waiting. He's very good.
Ready?
No busing. No busing. This is the Santa Claus is coming. Is he coming? He's back down there, I think. Wait a minute, I think I see him coming. Santa Claus?
The sharing program is a federally funded project designed to beef up small police forces. Despite the drizzling cold, lawmen such as Arlington policeman H.C. DeWolf went up for a ride just to see what kind of aerial service they're getting. I invited myself to go along only because the pilots assured me that helicopters really work best in the cold. After liftoff, I asked Sergeant DeWolf if the suburbs like Arlington handle enough emergencies to really need this kind of help.
Definitely. Of course, we don't have the number of emergencies that a city the size of Dallas or Fort Worth has, but when we do have one, it's just as important that we take the proper action. We've already utilized Dallas's and Fort Worth's helicopters in several manhunt situations and crime scene search type situations. And of course, crime isn't confined to the big cities. We have it too.
Senator Ike Harris of Dallas, chairman of a special Senate committee studying horse race regulations, opened the hearing saying no votes have been taken by the committee. This apparently was responding to Baptist leader charges that the committee is stacked in favor of parimutuel betting. Former Assistant U.S. Attorney General Will Wilson also said gambling breeds corruption of police and other officials. The committee will report to the next legislature. This is Roger McDonald, Channel 8 News on the Move in Austin.